Hello and welcome to the Sunday Guardian show by Joyeeta Basu. Today I have a very interesting, traumatic experience to relate. It was my trip to Israel from where I returned about 7-10 days back. So basically it was some kind of a fact-finding mission where we were supposed to see, it's a year after the Hamas attack on Israelis. So we were supposed to see what exactly had happened 1 year ago. And trust me, it was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life, because the kind of horror, the kind of savagery, the kind of brutality that has been inflicted on people, innocent people, young people, old people, babies. But before that, what also, we had to experience something which we as Indians, thank God for that, have never experienced. The fear of missile coming and landing wherever you are. You see, what happens in Israel, all houses, every building, they are all supposed to have something called a shelter, a safe house, a bunker. Even the bus stops have some kind of a shelter for fear of the rockets and the missiles coming from one side. There is Hezbollah, then there was Hamas, then of course the Houthis, then Iranian missiles. As it happened, we saw on 1st of October on Wednesday, Iran rained down 180 missiles on Israel. So Israel says that it's facing a 7-front war. And all these proxies, all these terrorist proxies are backed by Iran. So Hamas was also one of the Iranian proxies. Now you see, when I was there, it was, as I said, on Wednesday at about 6:30 in the morning. Suddenly I could hear sirens blaring. Initially I did not realize it was not that loud, but it was coming constantly. I thought it was an ambulance. But then suddenly, we have a group where we were told that keep checking that group for any security alerts. And suddenly I see our tour person is telling us that's a siren blaring. There's a likely rocket attack that is happening in North Tel Aviv. Get out of your room, go to the stairwell. That is the safe place in the hotel. So I ran out with my bag, with my passport, my mobile phone and charger. I ran out, went to the safe place. A lot of people had gathered there. The hotel, I was on the 11th floor. I was there, 10th floor people were there. So we stayed there for some time. There was no noise, no sound at all whatsoever for about 5-10 minutes. And once people started going back, suddenly I could hear a sound coming, thud, 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 thud. And I was like, what is going on? They said that the missile, no sound meaning it's a good thing. So one lady who was a Jewish lady from London, she told me, don't worry about it. It's what they call the good thud. Meaning the Israeli Iron Dome has kind of an Iron Dome anti-tank missile or whatever they call it. They have got into action, and the rocket or missile, whatever has been fired at Israel, is being intercepted. So after some time, everything went back to normal. I think inside 15-20 minutes, Israel was back on the sea coast, running, jogging. Everything was normal inside a matter of 10 minutes. Later during the day, we got to know that the missile that had been fired at Israel, it was what they call a Qadir-1. It's an Iranian missile, basically originally from North Korea. It's an ballistic missile with a range of about 1,000 kilometers. And it is equivalent to our Agni-1. So you can imagine the seriousness of the situation. But as I said, inside 10 minutes, everything was normal. Everybody has forgotten about it. But again, as I told you, on 1st of October, what we saw, Iran sent 180 such missiles. And the very fact that Israel did not face a single casualty shows the kind of ability they have gathered in terms of not only intercepting the missiles, but also saving its civilian population by sending them either underground or in stairwells or what they call safe places. We have to remember that this is the first anniversary of the Hamas attack on Gaza Gaza. This place is called Gaza envelope, which is the kibbutz bordering Gaza strip. So it is the first anniversary. You see, however much you blame Israel, that okay, they are bombing Gaza, this and that, a whole lot of things people are saying. Nobody, in fact, very few, especially in the West or the United Nations or different countries which are slightly aligned towards Iran and all, they are not talking about the fact what Hamas did on October 7th. You see, if you look at Ayatollah's latest statement, Ayatollah Khamenei, Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, he has justified the attack on Hamas, attack by Hamas on the Israelis. Now you want to hear what all happened? Because I went to those places. We were taken, now there is this area called Gaza envelope. Now this Gaza envelope is in the southern district of Israel. It is bordering Gaza. The whole area is between 3 kilometers and 7 kilometers of the Gaza border. Now when we went there, you see, there are these several kibbutz over there. Kibbutz are these rural settlements where they all live together. They have their individual houses, but there's a communal dining hall where all of them can come and sit. They make their own agriculture. They do their own farming. And because you see, the Israelis being such a resilient people, over the decades, what they have done, this is the Western Negev desert, by the way. Western Negev, which is coming from Egypt and southern part of Israel. What they have done, because of the kind of technology they have discovered, so many, this effort that they have put in, they have transformed this large area of the Negev desert into a green oasis, you can say. There's agriculture happening, and if you go to these kibbutz, the plural is kibbutzim. So if you go to these kibbutzim, you see they're quiet, absolutely very something idyllic about them. Rural, quiet places with all the modern facilities and amenities. They are hardworking people. They have worked really, really hard for over the decades to build what they are today. Say, for example, we went to a place called Kibbutz Biri. Now, this Biri kibbutz was, I think, established sometime in 1946 or something like that, 76, 78 years back, even before Israel came into existence. From that desert land that they got, they have built up an amazing thing. Now, this kibbutz had a residence, I think, around 1,200 people, out of whom Hamas, on the morning of October 7, 2023, killed 100 people, over 100. In fact, that was in terms of the kibbutz, that was the biggest massacre that they committed. So you see, when you go to that place, they are rebuilding it. A lot of rebuilding has already happened, but it has to be seen to be believed. There are open spaces over there where there used to be perfectly fine houses standing. Just imagine, these terrorists came in, these marauders came in, they looted, they raped, they killed, they decapitated people, they shot babies through the head, and they burned down houses in such a manner they cannot even be rebuilt. So there are these empty spaces there where houses used to be there, houses of families where 2 families, 3 families used to stay, where there were women, men, children, either dead or taken hostage, their houses demolished, nothing remains of them, empty space. Our guide in that kibbutz was Nili Bar Sinai. Now she is around 75. I am yet to see such a courageous woman. She is a survivor of that attack, and her husband was shot dead. All right? And she saw so many people being murdered in front of her eyes. And in spite of that, she's standing tall and brave and recounting what all happened. And then there was this, say, for example, one particular case, we came Avshalom Haran. Now, 8 members of his family, senior gentlemen, 8 members of his family were taken away. He himself was killed. His son, Yuval Haran was there at the kibbutz that day. So he was telling us what all happened. And it is traumatic. All the people were hiding in their safe rooms. Now they thought, but the problem is, as our Neely told us, the safe rooms were built for countering missiles and rockets. They never thought terrorists will be coming in. But that's what exactly happened on 23rd. Now this Yuval Haran was saying his mother, his, nieces, nephews, they were all hiding everywhere, and they were messaging. The communication was not down. It was like the terrorists are outside. For example, the WhatsApp groups of the mothers of that kibbutz, Biri I'm talking about, were there, and they were saying, my good, these people are coming in, these people have entered the house, these people just shot my baby through the head. I mean, just imagine the trauma on a Saturday morning, on a day of Shabbat, which is their day of rest. It's a holiday, it's a festival. This is what is happening. They're coming to the houses, they're setting them on fire, they're using flamethrowers, they're destroying everything that possible. They have set up some kind of a machine gun on the roofs of the house. They're using rocket-propelled grenades to kill and burn down and ordinary civilians' homes. Just imagine the situation. And later we got to know, we were shown, of course, by our sources, that these Hamas people who had come in, they had come in with detailed maps of every house in every kibbutz. So who were the ones, and they knew the schedules of the resident, they knew where to find them, where to go and everything. How did they find that? There's only one way. You see, all these kibbutz, which are inside 6 kilometers of the Gaza border, all of them used to, many in all these kibbutz, Palestinians, meaning people from Gaza, used to come and work. And they were the ones who were the informers. They were the ones who were the informers, who informed the Hamas, who drew out the layout, who gave them how exactly things were going on. And Hamas had everything drawn out on a map. Individual houses they had drawn up, they had done the route about how they will go about it, everything, they had it in their hand. And once they came in, they committed the most gruesome, horrifying and brutal massacre possible. You see, from kibbutz, all of you may have heard about this Nova Music Festival. Now, when you do, where apparently, I think over 300 young boys and girls were killed, the first responder to that, that is about a few kilometers away from kibbutz Biri, near another kibbutz called Reem. Now, this Nova Music Festival, they had a music festival throughout the night, and these were young people. Obviously, they were high, maybe they have had drugs, maybe they have had alcohol, whatever. So, next morning, they were sleeping peacefully in that open area when the Hamas guys attacked. And by the time, because as I said, it was Shabbat early morning. And in fact, the Hamas attack started at 6:30 in the morning, 6:30-ish or so. And if you remember, the Hezbollah missiles also came in at 6:30. So there's a very psychological message that these people have been trying to send to the Israelis by attacking at 6:30 in the morning. Now this Lieutenant Colonel Eran Massas, he was one of the first, in fact, he was the first responder to that Nova Music Festival. So he was telling us, when I got the message and I started coming, when by the time he reached that, there were bodies piled everywhere. Bodies and young girls and young men who have been burnt alive. There was a stench of raw flesh. Bullets had been there. Women have been raped. They had been decapitated. Their limbs have been broken. You see, there was a young girl who had been raped, who had been burnt alive and nails inserted in her vagina. Okay, now who does this? He believes he of course got into certain conflicts and confrontation with the Hamas terrorists, and he did kill some of them. But the fact of the matter is that he says till date, by the time, rescue came and all, everything started falling in place. It has been quite a few hours. And he said that those were the most traumatic hours of my life. And till date, he says, when I get up in the morning, I get the stench of burnt flesh. We are talking about, we saw, of course, many of us have seen the kind of videos we have seen on X. But also, we saw the videos which our sources, I cannot reveal the sources, of course. Many other videos as well. It's unbelievable. Why are these Hamas people, if they're actually talking about, killing the Jewish, they have not just killed the Jewish people, they have killed everyone there. In camera, there is someone is taking a spade and going thud, 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 and a Thailand worker from Thailand just decapitates that. When I was watching all those videos, I did not know where to look. We were extremely upset. I mean, it's difficult to sit through those videos when you see what is going on screen. And most of these videos have been collected from Hamas body cams. They were wearing body cameras, they were recording each and every bit. They have got this hostages square. It's some kind of in front of what they call the Tel Aviv Museum of Art, where morning till evening music is playing. People keep gathering, protests happen. They are trying to put pressure on the government to get them back, and this constant striving is happening about getting these people back. They are all very, very sensitive about it. All over Tel Aviv, all over Israel, I would say, I saw, there are these ribbons that have been put up, and there are photos of the hostages saying, bring them back, bring them back. So one thing is for certain, because there is such a small country, because there are so few people, basically 9 million, it is not even 1 crore, which means they value every single life. And for that, to get one soldier back, Israeli government had once released 1,000 terrorists. Yes, they have also taken these actions, for which perhaps they are repenting now, but they know how to value human life. 80% of the people in Gaza Strip, they support what the Hamas did. Now the thing is that, should that require collective punishment? Should that require the kind of death that has happened over there? I always think it in context of, God forbid, something like that happens to India. How would India respond? Think of it like that, and then think whether the war there is justified or not, or whether whatever Benjamin Netanyahu is doing by kind of trying to clear the area simply. As I said, Iran is the octopus, and it has got terrorist proxies, and they are coming all over from everywhere. So, is he justified or not? Always place yourself in that position and think about it. How would our reaction have been?